Ron leapt like a magnificent salmon when he stepped on the stickle brick, and he hit his head on the lampshade, which instigated Chip in the Artex, and as we watched it crumbled like a biscuit. There was, you might gather, some excitement in the household. A feverish energy precipitated by Scan's arrival. We would come from a land afar, wild vistas, peopled by those who spoke a tongue not known to us in Wolverhampton. From the Far East coming home, with all that experience in tow, he was not to know how we got into a tizzy over the hoovering. All was a maelstrom, and if I've told him once, I've told him 1,000 times to put slippers on, my man, or something more substantial than socks. But they insisted on getting in on the fun, since Stan had been on shores with golden beaches, and might feel alienated without someone else au naturel in tow. So the inevitable happened. What our child, God bless her, had left out from her toy box became thorn in his flesh. He stepped and nutted the light, and a series of cracks like psoriasis on Grandma showed, and my hairnet was coated with a thin layer of dust. I said that I had had my hair done, and did he think I had my curlies in for show? If all was under control, I would already done the roast, and my curls would be free, but I was running drastically behind schedule. Glory be. All my complaints seemed in that cauldron true, and calibrated to a prize of pressing jobs, but were communicated chiefly in terrible language. We had to suit the style to the situation. These reminiscences gloss the panic of the time in words refined or doggerel, but I make no apology. This is after all that lurid 30 minutes before Stan walked through the door, even an onward curse. I had to be a sergeant major, barrister, to pierce the woe is me of him with foot and wound on his bonds opening up. I had no idea how to patch up at this short notice the cracks appearing on the ceiling, more to the point. You have to make priorities. With the kid trussed up, sprouts done, oven now at gas mark 10 to catch up with the time lost chicken defrosting, I had it, I thought, sussed. And I hate to go on, but if not for that stickle brick, I'm sure by the time Stan got here, bronzed, bearing gifts, carrying some unpronounceable infection and much confidence, it would have made for a fun-filled afternoon. His girls and other conquests, his near misses with pedalos. We wouldn't look forward to a traditional Sunday dinner after catching crabs on the beach and slurping noodles for weeks, and if we seemed unadventurous usually, me and my oaf, the old married couple, beside his single, free-to-mingle, perpetual teenage type, then at least for this visit, his eyes accustomed to the paradise of Koh Samui, he might see our suburban semi as something more akin to Buckingham Palace. That is, it all depends on what's been habit. And we had the advantage of being surprisingly new. If you've slept in mud hut through the height of summer, to come back to tufted Wilton, arrange in the kitchen, teaspoons must seem a wonderful surprise. To discover off the plain this tidy, homely haven of peace and tranquillity, the Palace of Versailles. Well, that was supposed to be the way. Until him running round with plastic gouged in the heel, and a pet who had sat in his bed and watched all this dolefully, suddenly found his tail and proceeded to run rings around on the floor, trying to bite it. And this was just 5 minutes. Time goes both exceedingly quick and agonizingly slow in such a situation. The member of the crowd who sees assassin's gun emerge when the president is visiting, and he the only one, can do nothing but howl silently, as in a movie, to dramatic drumbeat. The goalie lingers in treacle, while a penalty a fraction of its speed goes on its way. Save this, teammate, and you win the World Cup. Is us. I made comparison afterwards when I had time. But at 25 minutes before Stan's arrival, I lived countless lives. Goes to show how keeping up appearances is not just a TV trope, but inspires a roller coaster ride of highs and lows. It would invoke the heavens to fall in the Greek tragedies, but thankfully in this case, a coat of paint was all we got, and the dust was sprinkled, but the dust swept up. And his foot was not pincushion, just a little lightly pricked by the stickle brick, all superficial. If I'd had £1 each time he screamed, I'd be rich. That's husband for you. My hair was released, gently sprung, the kid cradled without alarm, and the dog got a biscuit to gnaw rather than his own flesh and blood. So all was good. We lived happily ever after. But that doesn't make a story, does it? Sometimes you have to embellish the truth, and if you were in my shoes, you would too. For at the end of it all, guess what? Stan didn't turn up. Urgent appointment at specialist department for tropical disease. Urology at the hospital. We ate our tea in peace. All back to normal. Nice and quiet. As we were before Stan's arrival.